Hello, Astro friends. Melanie here on a beautiful date. It is February 25th, 2025. 225, 2025. Lots of twos and fives. So, what is this about? My association is chakras, right? So, the second chakra is the sacral chakra relating to joy, pleasure, abundance, growth. It is the chakra of Jupiter. And the fifth chakra is the throat chakra relating to Mercury, speaking our truth. That's a big factor. So, this could be a signature of the day and also of the week to come, especially with the big Super PISCEan new moon that's coming up on the 27th in 2 days. The big factor of this week, almost overshadowing Venus going retro on March the 1st. So let's get started with the new moon, of course. But even before the new moon, we have the dark moon night. Like every new moon has a dark moon pre-new moon, of course, right? But this one is very special in the Hindu culture. It is the Shivaratri night, the night of Shiva, dancing the dance of death, destruction, and renewal. Shiva, the destroyer rebuilder, associated with Pluto in our planetary archetypes. And we had today, actually, the day of the month when the moon in early Aquarius met Pluto and passed Pluto. So there is this kind of Pluto theme here. And what's it got to do? It's also got to do a lot with the snake energy of the lunar or Chinese New Year in terms of shedding old skins, renewal, transformation, and even Shiva is depicted with a serpent, a cobra, I believe, around his neck, depicting or representing the cycles of time and impermanence. And so this will be the pre-new moon Shivaratri night, and in India even extra special because there is also currently the Maha Kumbh Mela going on. The Kumbh Mela happens every 12 years, but this one is a very special one due to their calculation of alignments. And it started already with the full moon in Cancer Capricorn on the 13th of January and ends with the Shivaratri night. So look that up. It's the biggest festival on earth. There's millions of people coming together at the confluence of the three sacred rivers and taking their bath. So all of that is very Aquarius, Pisces in a way. And I don't want to go on about that because it's really about the new moon, but this is also a very special night before the new moon. Now, let's go into the very Pisces new moon that's coming up in 2 days. Actually, almost exactly, because the new moon will be at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. And if you're in Europe, it will be already on the 28th of February. Here is the new moon chart. Okay. All right. So, okay. Equally. All right. So, look at all this Pisces energy. Yes, there's the new moon here at 9 degrees 40 minutes Pisces, and there's so much else in Pisces. Saturn, Mercury, the North Node, and Neptune, and especially North Node Neptune are the very end of Pisces in transition to Aries. The North Node coming from Aries, Neptune going into Aries. Mercury will also go into Aries on the 3rd of March, and then Venus is in early Aries and early mid Aries, and she will go retro on March the 1st and also go back into Pisces. So actually with Venus Mercury, they trade places and do this dance on this Pisces Aries cusp. also accentuating that. What is this cusp? I call it the emergence point. When new life emerges, it's the spring equinox, when the out of the oneness, out of the all emerges the one, right? So all of that points to something really new emerging and being in the making. And this last new moon in winter this year is setting the tone for that. The new moon is also, it's every new moon is an initiation. What type of initiation is this one? Yes, it's also union. Every new moon per se is a union of yin and yang, but this one is especially about unity and union because it's Pisces. Pisces is all about oneness and unification and coherence, convergence. Things are coming together, and sometimes it feels chaotic because at the same time it appears as things are falling apart, and that is kind of the metaphor of that is of course the ocean, right, with all its waves. So we are also called to surf these waves and stay in the flow, stay in our rhythm. And when it comes to rhythm, that also has a lot to do with Mars in Cancer. Let me just, apropos, take a sip of water. So Mars is also a big factor with this new moon. Also watery, right? So much going on in the water signs. The water signs basically occupy half of the chart, and at least half of it, because this chart is set up for Victoria and it already computes the Leo rising at the time of the new moon and the Taurus midheaven. So that skews it even a bit. And water is definitely predominant, especially through Pisces and Cancer, nothing in Scorpio. But what's with Mars in Cancer? Having gone direct forward from Earth perspective on the 23rd, 2 days ago. And of course, the new moon also catalyzes that. The Mars has been in Cancer. Actually, the early phase was from early September on already, and now it re-entered Cancer in retrograde on January 6th, and has left its retrograde motion, going direct now, and will still be in Cancer until the 17th of April. And so we're getting new momentum forward. And here what matters here is also that currently there's no planet retrograde. It's a small window this time, this year. It happens every year typically for more or less time. This year it's just for a week because after Mercury went direct, soon on Sunday, what day is the Saturday the 1st, Venus will go retrograde in Aries, the sign ruled by Mars. So we're having now this window of no retro. A lot can set into motion, a lot can happen, or at least be kicked off, and especially through Mars, right, and through the new moon, and especially in the departments in your chart relating houses wise to Cancer and Pisces, right? So what has it got to do with real life, right? How does that translate? And so Cancer energy has to do with home, with family, with, from the Mars perspective, also finding, as I said before, our rhythm, our tribe, pursuing what we really need, and also taking something about doing something about our feelings, and being nurturing, self-nurturing, caring, and everything in Cancer in our charts also gets naturally energized by Mars. Then from the Pisces side, what is set in motion? This is the spiritual dimension. This is the dimension of surrender, allowing, and transcending also. The theme of transcendence comes up also big time in the Sabian symbol for the new moon. I checked that out in my article that I wrote for the new moon. There will be a really interesting symbol associated with it, and it has to do with also innovation. That's very much the Aquarius impulse from Pluto, and Uranus of course also with it. And innovation often actually means or requires the transcendence of problems, not just the solving of problems. So, how can we also in our lives transcend issues rather than just being on the level of problem solving? That's also very apropos the South Node now in Virgo, which tends to look at issues, analyze the situation, sees problems, trying to solve it, make the world a better place. But Pisces is the higher incentive in this case, right? So it's about transcending the problem. That could be, or being the solution, right? All these things that take us to a whole different level of experience. And so that new moon, what else is associated with her? As I said before, Venus goes retrograde here on Saturday the 1st, every 1.5 years. And interesting that she takes turns with Mars, who just comes out of retro every 2 years, and she's in the sign of Mars. So Venus helps us in general. When Venus goes retro, she helps us re-access stories or patterns of relationships, of attraction, and also to adjust that, to not perpetuate old karma in that regard, so to say, but actually resolve it. And what is the clue for that? Typically, a healthy self love. This is the goddess coming back to source, coming back also as Venus will connect with the sun halfway through. And that is a new Venus. When is that going to happen? In, I would say, end of March. It will be very interesting. Big feature. That would be a big feature for the next new moon, the partial solar eclipse in early Aries, when Venus will just will be in connection with the sun, very close in any case. Don't have it exactly on me right now, but you're getting the idea. So that is totally all about healthy self-love and new beginnings in that regard, and not in an assertive way like Martian, rather in a loving way, but in a very direct and very clear and courageous way. So, yeah, Venus is now stationary. She's about to go retrograde. So, Venus in early mid Aries at about 10-11 degrees is also super relevant at this point. Check out where that is in your chart together with the 10 degrees of Pisces of the new moon. And yeah, so if you can read your chart yourself and plot that and identify that, where is that 10 Aries, where is 10 Pisces? This is where a lot gets activated at this point. And from Venus perspective, also backtracking. Why are you so attracted to this 10 degrees Aries dot dot dot, right? What did you need to retrieve? How do you need to come back to yourself and come back to love? And then also this piece about Aries will get better. So Venus will also, in the course of her retrograde journey, go back into Pisces, and that will be from March 27th on. Okay, so let me just see. March 27th. That's right. Yeah, March 27th till April 15th. And so again, the mermaid has to go back into the waters of connectedness and oneness. And it's also interesting that both Venus and Mercury go retrograde almost at the same terrain of the zodiac this time, and just one after the other. First, starting with Venus on March 1st till April 12th, and then Mercury from from March 14th to April 7th. So Venus encompasses the Mercury retro phase, but they go in the same terrain. So there's something going on about, again, as I showed you in the chart, something big going on around this cusp. Pisces, Aries, Aries, Pisces. It's all about transition into the new, right? It's the spring equinox point, reiterating that. And I wrote a bit about it in the blog article, so check that out. What else is going on this week? As I said, no planets retro, yep. And then we are currently still in the first phase of Pisces, the first 10 degrees of Pisces with a Cancer undertone. That's going on until February 28th. And yeah, so this is about caring, nurturing, oneness, belonging in the all, and also family themes around Pisces. So also emphasized through the new moon, barely still in that realm, just 9:40, right? So just before 10 degrees of Pisces. And then we're entering from March 1st till 10th, the second decanate, the second 10 degrees and days of Pisces, and that will be with Scorpio undertone. That is about diving deeper into issues, into themes, but not kind of a scary way, more in an intuitive, sensitive way, really tuning into mystery and magic. And that can be actually really exciting. And seeing the undercurrents, right? So, really going into the depth where themes are connected in essence. That can be a very spiritual experience, in fact. And we're having currently the moon still in Aquarius today, the 25th, and the moon goes into Pisces to not even tomorrow. Tomorrow, still on the 26th in Aquarius. The moon enters Pisces on the 27th, actually, at 12:46 a.m. Pacific. So just before, on the same day of the new moon, if you're on the American continent, so to say. And so we're having Aquarius moon today, tomorrow. That's still the outflowing phase of the Aquarius new moon, if you will. And it is also about systems, about a detachment, about seeing things in a bigger context, but not so much in a yes, it is intuitive, but it's not an emotional experience. It's rather a mental or a intellectual experience. And maybe we also have needs with the moon to really connect with like-minded people, where you can discuss all these things about systems and about all the changes that are happening in systems now. Huge, right? It's still informed, of course, by the contact of the moon with Pluto, now in Aquarius, which happened this morning. Then the moon will go into Pisces. All day Thursday, the new moon, right? All day Friday, the 28th, until Saturday, the 1st, at 1:52 a.m. Pacific. And that is interesting because that is then when the moon enters Aries on the first day of March, which is ruled by Mars. The month of March is ruled by Mars, and also that's when Aries starts. So that's a really nice alignment. But before that, we're having the Pisces moon, and the Pisces moon as a dark to new moon. And so that is all about, everything is coming together, allowing things, allowing the old to be washed out and released, and being open, being receptive, being in a good vibration where the new can come into your life and can meet you and can invite you into this initiation, into unity and oneness. And out of that, new fresh energy and new aliveness comes. That is also Aries, a new sense of self, maybe even. That's very Aries, Aries moon on Saturday, meeting even Venus, right? So the moon will be freshly in Aries, meeting Venus in Aries just hours after she went retrograde. That is a beautiful alignment. We might even see both of them already as the young moon, as the first Shiva crescent of the moon, with Venus in the evening light, in the after sunset, right? Dusk. So that is a beautiful signature of Saturday, the 1st, moon Venus conjunct with Venus retrograde and Aries energy, quite a shift in energy. And so that is a good actual start into the new cycle from the fresh Aries perspective, being embracing the new and moving forward and experiencing yourself in a new light, everything that comes with that. And at the same time, it's a signal and a signature also for healthy self-love, but also going back to, with Venus retrograde, going back to old loves, right, is typically the formula. So whom and what you have been in love, in relationship with, attracted to in the past. See what it's like when you tune into that and what comes up with that and what the gifts are, but also what the patterns are, right? So the moon will be in Aries on Sunday, and Sunday will be also an interesting day because that's when the sun in Pisces will be in square with Jupiter. Let me mark that and talk about it later. Then the moon will enter Taurus on Monday the 3rd. So the weekend is quite the moon in Aries weekend, playing out still on Sunday, especially then with the moon connecting with Chiron in Aries. So this is all about healing, anything that is brings up but also addresses and helps heal old and maybe early, right, Aries wounds, and also wounds around, who came first, right? So I often associate Chiron and Aries actually with indigenous cultures and First Nations. So, so what is your part in that, right? And then the moon goes into Taurus, where she is super happy. That's where the moon is exalted and a very grounding energy, very welcome after a lot of fluidity and a freshness, newness in the Pisces Aries department. So there's a very grounding energy coming in on Monday, Tuesday, that even reaches into Wednesday morning. So moon in Taurus likes to settle, likes anything that is offers stability, is pleasing to the senses, and gives a sense of physical belonging and nurturance and nourishment, I should say also. Okay. And so this is as far as this Astro Week goes, but I wanted to address also, as I said, the alignment on Sunday from the Sun in early Pisces in square with Jupiter in Gemini. Jupiter now stationary, moving slowly but surely forward since early February and catching more momentum. And this square is actually already built into the new moon. I showed it to you, I didn't mark it, but you can see it here, right? So it's the square from the new moon to Jupiter. The moon actually will square Jupiter already on the 27th, on the new moon day. The sun on Sunday the 2nd. And so this is definitely a strong feature here. And both mutable, right? Gemini and Pisces mutable energy. There's a lot of momentum, lots of movement, lots of instability there. And but the Jupiter is also a beautiful blessing for openness, for questions, for learning, for communication, for anything that expands our horizon through knowledge and through interest, through curiosity. So that is a beautiful, and even this would be about sharing our and communicating from with in combination with Pisces beyond words, right? So communing is very much apropos Gemini and Pisces, right? So if you have both of these signs in your chart, placements of planet, sun, moon, nodes, and such, and ascendant, you know what I'm talking about. And yeah, so this is a interesting square. The only thing with Sun Jupiter to avoid is overwhelm and too much of a good thing, that you'll be spreading yourself too thin and you going into all directions at once. That will, especially also with the Aries moon. So take it easy on Sunday the 2nd. And yeah, and then on Monday the 3rd, Mercury goes into Aries. Um, Mercury goes into Aries, will be in Aries in 2 stages, as I said, because it goes retrograde, also from Aries to Pisces. So Mercury goes for the first time into Aries here, March 3rd till March 29th, and then comes back April 15th to May 10th. So Mercury is per se much happier in Aries than in Pisces. Mercury rules Virgo, and in Pisces feels a bit out of place, so the mind can get, unless you really enjoy, right, being in the groove and just improvising and flowing and not being so structured and organized. But Mercury in Pisces is also about communicating through visuals, through various channels, through media, right? So, and also picking up messages. And no placement is really perceived bad, right? So it's just sometimes I point that out with a traditional system just to help us understand the energy better. And but Mercury leaves Pisces and goes into Aries on March the 3rd. And so there's a more dynamic energy coming in. This is more, yeah, straightforward and direct, and that can be very stimulating. And put it out, show yourself, show your colors, communicate, and also take initiative, right? And don't wait for people to see you or find you. Just call them and do something about it. That's more Mercury in Aries. And straightforward in your face sometimes, right? Then yeah, so Mercury is slowly gearing up then to for going retro. So we're going into that next week or even the following, because the retro doesn't start before March 14th, but keep an eye on that. And I believe that's it for today. So I hope that was helpful. And as I said, you can find always more writing about all these features, all these cosmic events and shifts in my Astro News blog articles that feature specific themes one at a time. So Shivaratri, I have one for the new moon, then another one coming up for Venus retrograde, and so on. So you can read whatever's relevant for you, and it's also kind of more contained and more specific in that regard. And the email Astro News that I'm also sending out here shortly, to tomorrow probably, will be encompassing this whole phase, of course, as always, from new moon to full moon, and then the other one will be from full moon to new moon. So that covers 2 weeks and everything that happens during that phase. And you can find in the email Astro News also links to articles, links to videos, and so on. So it's a lot of resources comes to you via email. If you're interested, shoot me an email and I add you to the subscriber list. And yeah, so that's it for today. Have a beautiful week into the Pisces new moon, the last new moon of winter. And may the moon bring a beautiful transitional impulse and initiation for you into the new, and shedding old layers, shedding old, sorry, shedding old skins. Clearing my throat. Okay, so I wish you well and see you next time. Or maybe we see each other in the meantime through whichever channel it is. Bye bye.